Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, says the government has so far pumped in 400 billion naira into the economy. She said the move is part of the overall plan of the government to reflate the economy and get it up and running again. She was speaking in Abuja at an interactive session with journalists to explain what the government is doing to revive the Nigerian economy.
Reflating the economy, we'd said from the beginning with this budget that the economy needed a spending stimulus. What does that mean? It means government spending money, putting money into people's hands so that people too can spend, so that the chain in the economy resumes, the chain that grows our economic growth or generates our economic growth. So far, we have spent on capital over 400 billion. That's between May, when the budget was signed, and today. And even as we leave here now, we're going for another capital allocation meeting where we're going to allocate another 60 billion. So we're pumping money into the economy at a very rapid rate. As I say, it will take a little bit of time. What are the delays and challenges? One, a lot of agencies have to do their procurement process. Now, there's a balance between speed and transparency. If we say to them, quick, just work with the contractors you have, that's not necessarily fair on the rest of Nigeria. If you check most of your newspapers, you see adverts for various contracts. Those are contracts that people are bidding for. The winners of those contracts get paid, they bring back their workers, and the economic recovery begins. So there have been some delays caused by the procurement process, but we are getting over them. What are the other delays in terms of impact? As I explained in my opening speech, some contractors had not been paid since 2012. And they are owed significant amounts of money. So one of them, let me give you an example, and I won't say their name. They got 20 billion in the last release, but we're owing 81 billion. So that 20 billion is like a drop in the ocean. Now what we've had to do to them is say, look, we didn't incur that 80 billion that you're owed. You've been owed this money since 2013, and you didn't die. Please, this 20 that we gave you, use it to work. As you work, we'll begin to address the arrears. But what is most important for us is please get your people back to work. And in fairness to the contractors, majority of them have heeded our call and have gone back to work. But that overhang of debt that we inherited has really slowed things down. Because if we didn't owe them, the 20 billion would go much, much further. But some of them said, look, the money I received just pays the interest on the loan. I've been running overdraft, government hasn't paid me for years. So we're negotiating with them to try and make sure that the impact is felt. So those are some of the challenges, but really we're borrowing. Yes, we also have increased our revenues, especially our independently generated revenues. We are focused on that. We've been able to get about 200 billion so far, and more is coming in on a daily basis from all those agencies that in the past were not paying money in. We meet with them daily, we give them targets, we task them, we block them from spending beyond approved limits so that more money is available in the Consolidated Revenue Fund. And that's why the cash planning meeting where we allocate capital, which used to be once a quarter, is now once a week. As money comes in, we're pushing it out. And so we're very confident that as we continue to do this spending stimulus, you'll start to see the shoots of recovery.
Now, Mrs. Adeosun also used the opportunity to shed more light on how the Treasury single account works.
The TSA is really, let me explain, because we started TSA in 2011 when I was in state government. We had about 4,000 bank accounts for the state. And what we did was we wrote to every bank, we said, close all those accounts, we want one account per bank. We discovered billions, some of which had been left in accounts since the 70s. And then we were better able to control our balances. But the reason why you can't just take that money and spend it is that TSA, for example, like the PermSec said, it has money that is not necessarily the federal government's money. So for example, FAC belongs to state governments. If I take their money and spend, when it's time to pay their money, I'll be struggling. So financial discipline is about knowing what money is yours. And what we've done with the Office of the Accountant General is looked at all those balances, gone to those agencies. Some of them have big balances that over the years, they should have paid that money into the federation account. We are forcing them to pay it in because it's not their money. That is money that should come into the federation. But to go and take individual agencies' money and borrow from it could cause a further crisis. For example, if I take the oil industry, the international oil companies for the joint ventures, they put their money in to a joint account with NNPC. If I go and spend their money on a road, when they're ready to do their oil drilling, they'll have no money. So it seems like a very good solution, but it's actually not right. Where we get benefits from TSA are: one, control. We're able to see what's being spent. Two, short-term borrowing, like taking overdrafts. We don't do that anymore because when you look at the overall balance, we're usually in some form of credit. But it's not advisable in accounting terms. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. Eventually, Peter will come and we'll have a problem. So what we're trying to make sure is that the money that agencies have is accounted for. That which belongs to the federal government is paid into this consolidated revenue fund, and then we can spend from there.